was learning about Ayurveda and I was trying to convey it to a different group of people that had never heard of Ayurveda before. Depending on the vocabulary that you've been taught about how something exists, determines how you will understand how things operate within that system. So, for example, in terms of how we've learnt the human body, we've learnt it in terms of blood, bones, structure, cells, enzymes. There's all these vocabulary words that we have used to define what we're able to see. And then from that vocabulary, that is how we organise how processes work within, for example, the human body. So you will only understand how something works through enzymes or through cells or through structural things. Now, when it comes to learning Ayurveda, we have to learn that there is a whole new level of vocabulary that will be entering into your being in order for you to learn. So what this involves when you're learning Ayurveda, and to really truly understand it, you kind of have to put aside, not get rid of, you have to put aside the vocabulary that you've been taught and learn a whole new vocabulary. You have to learn the dhatus, you have to learn the shrotas, you have to learn nadis, you have to learn doshas, you have to learn all these different aspects of our being that we were not taught at school. Now, once you understand, or once you've got this vocabulary of what these things are, or what they represent within our being as a human, then you will understand Ayurveda. And then you will understand why it's impossible to prove it against Western or more modern scientific parameters. So, for a long time I've been, I suppose, a little bit frustrated, even though I shouldn't be, about why Ayurveda as a science is fighting to be proved. In my opinion, I think that it doesn't need to be proved. I think it's the older system of healing, and who's to say that just because it's older it means that it's not as valid. So in my opinion, by proving Ayurveda with parameters that are set by modern vocabulary, or trying to show that something works with a certain level of enzyme reduction or a certain level of blood pressure or whatever, you're essentially putting the modern scientific approach above Ayurveda parameters and saying, well, if it's not going to fit into those modern parameters, then it can't be true. So this really frustrates me, because for me, I think what Ayurveda is doing, or what we might be trying to do, is we're wasting time. We are wasting time trying to prove a science that cannot be proved. It can only be experienced. So instead of wasting time trying to do all these tests to say, look, it works, just try it, and those that are open to it will come. And they will try it themselves and they will experience it, and then they will see, okay, yeah, it works. It's not something that can be proved so rigorously, evidentially. Yes, it is being done, and I totally agree that it's amazing that some of these Ayurvedic medicine and drugs and ways of working are going to be put into the modern fore and used because of this evidence. That's fantastic. But ultimately, if you try to think about what the outcome is in Ayurveda, it's not a definite, conclusive thing. See, in Ayurveda understanding of life, where it's a thread, it's a string, it's a continuum, it's a flow. So you can't say that there's a definite ending to something. Perhaps the outcome of a situation propels you on your journey, even though it's not what you wanted it to be. So, for example, you're sick and you're taking an Ayurvedic medicine, and the outcome of the medicine isn't exactly what you thought, but maybe it highlighted something else that you then went on to change. And can you imagine the possibilities in that? The possibilities of outcomes in a certain situation are infinite. So how can you prove that something has technically worked if everything in your life is connected? If your mental health, your relationships, your career, your social life, everything is all connected, the possibility of outcomes of taking Ayurvedic medicine will be innumerous. And then you multiply that by the individuality of someone, and every single person is unique and will react to the medicine in a different way. How on earth is it going to fit into these tiny parameters of statistics to show that something works? So I think that if Ayurveda has to be proved in this day and age, if it insists on being proved, it needs to be measured on different parameters, ones that match the science of Ayurveda, not ones that match the modern approach, because it's doomed to fail. There's no way that it can be slotted into that system, because the modern approach to science, it's amazing, don't get me wrong, it's amazing, but it has defined parameters and limitations. If something works, it's in that circle. If it doesn't work, then it doesn't belong in that circle anymore. But with Ayurveda, it's more interconnected and in everything. Like it's kind of, how do I put it? One. Like everything is one. Everything in your being is one thing. So you can't isolate aspects of it and then measure an outcome from that, because everything is so interconnected. It's like this huge system of balance, and you pour one thing in here, it's going to affect something there. You lessen something here, it's going to affect something over there, and then it becomes this kind of this understanding of this map of your life and what needs to be balanced. You will not be able to put this into scientific parameters. So I thought about this and I was like, right, these are like my, for example, these are my allopathic lenses. When I'm understanding how a pharmaceutical drug works in the pharmacy, I'll look through these lenses and I'll go, okay, this affects this cell, this cellular process, this protein, it inhibits this, it antagonizes this, it inhibits this process, and this is how I understand how a pharmaceutical medicine works in the body, because that is my vocabulary of it, of my understanding of that system. So therefore I will use this vocabulary to describe this particular system and how this medicine works. Now then, when it comes to Ayurveda, I have to take these off. I have to take these lenses off and I put these ones on, and these ones have got Dhatu, these have got Shrota, these have got Dosha, these have got elements, these have got all of these aspects of our being that you're not able to see with these lenses, with the other ones. It allows me to see the being in completely different lenses. So if imagine these are different colors, if I see everything in blue with my allopathic or my modern medicine glasses, and then I see everything with brown with my Ayurvedic lenses, I will view things differently and you will be able to understand things differently. Now what's happening is we're trying to put our scientific lenses on, and then we're saying, okay Ayurveda, if you can fit on top of these glasses, if you fit on top of these lenses and you work, then it's all good. But actually you make everything darker. You don't actually see anything for what it is. You see like an amalgamation of the two. Now this is amazing if you think about it, because what we're doing is we're combining the two colours and we're saying, okay, let's see where they cross over. But are we doing it in equal measure? Why don't we put our Ayurvedic lenses on and then look at the allopathic system and say, okay, let's see how it works on that stance. But instead it's always the other way around, and Ayurveda is trying to fit into a system as if it can fit into something that's finite. It cannot, it's infinite. So really what I wanted to convey in this video is that whatever vocabulary you've taught to see the world, to understand the world and understand the processes will determine how you understand something, how something works in it. In order to understand Ayurveda, in order to understand how the medicine is working, how disease takes place, how the doshas behave in the body, for a temporary moment, or permanently if you like, you have to remove these lenses that have created this view of the world that is definitely true, and then you've got to put on the other glasses and then start to understand it from that perspective too. And then you will understand both systems. See, one of the things I don't do is I generally don't cross over allopathy or modern medicine with Ayurveda, because the more I've learned about it, the more I see that it is a science system within itself. And what I love about Ayurveda is it recognises that we can't see everything. And there are parts of our being that are not necessarily visible to the naked eye, but we know they are there. And it also understands that there is a connection between everything, like everything is connected. And when I put my Ayurveda lenses on, it's like I'm able to see those connections. It enables you to see those connections. Whereas when you don't have that on, it's a little bit more difficult. And especially if you've got these lenses on, you're going to go, well, no, that's impossible that they're connected. Prove it. And it's like, you can't prove it with these lenses on. And poor Ayurveda, sometimes I think, oh my gosh, like this is just wasting so much time. We have a science system that has the ability to transform people's lives and people's health, yet we're so stuck on making it fit into these glasses that we're wasting time. And it could progress a lot further if we just learned to put down those lenses and try on another pair of glasses and say, okay, with those glasses on, yes, Ayurveda is a very effective system. Let's give that a go. And then why don't we give people the option to wear different lenses? Why do they always have to wear one lens? So yeah, I don't know if that might help people that are learning Ayurveda to understand that. Put your Ayurveda lenses on and take the other ones off, and then you can understand what Ayurveda is. And then, for example, for me, if I work in the pharmacy, I'll put these ones on and I have to explain something and I have to understand that that person understands the vocabulary in that way. I have to use that vocabulary to explain that process. So there is definitely crossover between the two, but there are aspects of promoting and propagating Ayurveda that would involve taking the other lenses off and putting the Ayurveda lenses on. So yes, that's my little video. It's not so educational about Ayurveda, but it's something that I'm really passionate about and I've thought about for a long time. And I've had countless debates with people that really try to show that Ayurveda doesn't work, or, you know, prove it. And they haven't got that perspective of life that you learn when you're studying these types of sciences. Then you will never be able to allow Ayurveda to enter you and to be part of who you are. You really have to let some things go, like let the limitations go, see beyond what you can see with the naked eye. And when you do that, you really let go and you allow something truly special to come into your being, and it will guide you throughout the rest of your life. So thank you for watching, and next time you come into a debate about whether Ayurveda works, maybe you can use this example. And yeah, let's keep promoting the great science of Ayurveda and hope that we stop wasting so much time and start using it as much as possible.